calling on companies and organizations to offer a more supportive and caring environment for employees living with HIV. Higher learning institution MANCOSA says that individuals are often forced to resign after disclosing their status. In most cases, this apparently happens because of rife discrimination and a hostile working environment. And to discuss this further, we joined on the line from Durban by Dr Marlini Moodley, who is a marketing and applied law academic at MANCOSA. Dr Moodley, good morning and thanks so much for your time here on Morning Live.
Good morning and thank you for having me, Sakina.
You know, Dr Moodley, the other day Leanne was doing an interview and one of the things that came up was that we don't seem to spend as much time or expend as much energy talking about HIV and its attendant consequences as we used to. Do you find that to be true as well?
Yes, I do. I think in the workforce right now, owners are probably burying their heads in the sand and just, having a wait and see approach. Not much is being done in terms of counseling, creating awareness in the workforce.
And this is, of course, a problem because as we see the number of infections still staggering and alarming at this stage. But just give us some examples of what happens in a workplace situation when an individual has declared their HIV status.
Well, there's a lot of discrimination that still prevails. And as a result, you find constructive dismissals occurring, whereby an employee is put in a corner, they are made to feel very uncomfortable, there's harassment, victimization, and there's also harassment and victimization just merely by being associated with that employee. So it is a very, very grave issue. And you find that the employees are not staying on their ARVs. They actually are staying home. There's sickness coming in. And, there's a whole host of productivity issues and workplace issues that result.
But what sort of responsibility does the employer have in this instance to make sure that the workplace is actually a conducive space for someone with HIV or AIDS?
So counseling should be ongoing in the company. There should be voluntary counseling and testing that happens throughout the year. There should be peer counseling. There can be a ratio of 1:30 in clusters where there's ongoing peer counseling, where one of the members can be appointed as an educator, or we could possibly get a group of companies coming together and all being counseled at one go.
But do you find that the policies that these companies would have are enough? Are they sufficient to protect someone who comes out and discloses to make sure that they are in a safe space when they do so?
Well, the legislation that is in place at the moment, there's the Promotion of Equality and Prevention of Discrimination Act number 4 of 2000 that prevents discrimination. In terms of legislation, that is in place. But obviously, discrimination still prevails in the workforce, unfortunately.
So it comes back to the employer and once again placing the responsibility on them, because surely they need to do more. It doesn't help that we have the legislation if the employers are not adhering to it, Dr. Moodley.
Definitely. I just feel that, the findings of the research also shows that there's a lack of funding from all sides. There's a lack of funding from government, from medical companies. We need more heads to be put together and come up with solutions, how we can assist companies with funding. because if there's a culture, a transformational culture of where everybody gets tested, everybody gets counseled together, then obviously there's a lack of discrimination. Everybody has this lovely supportive culture in the company.
But if you were to advise companies, how should workplace programs be designed so that they are indeed successful and people are not ostracized?
It has to come from within the company, in agreement with all parties, ongoing and supportive and on a regular basis, where everybody gets tested, everybody gets counseled, and then very discreetly ARVs can be given to the relevant parties.
And with regards to complaints, when people unfortunately do fall foul to discrimination and other acts of intimidation, what procedures should businesses put in place to manage these complaints about harassment or mistreatment in the workplace?
Well, the Department of Labor has a set of technical assistance guidelines, that can be downloaded from the websites. And it actually sets the foundation for companies to follow. And if this is followed, I think this is going to really benefit everybody in the company.
Dr. Moodley, just finally, what should an employee do should they find themselves in this predicament?
Firstly, they are not forced to disclose their status, and they can channel their queries, to one person in the HR department, and it can be escalated thereafter. But they should not be put in a corner whereby they are forced to resign or forced to do anything that they are not comfortable with in a company.
Thank you so much, Dr. Marlini Moodley, Marketing and Applied Law Academic at MANCOSA, talking to us about the high levels of discrimination in the workplace today in 2019 due to HIV and AIDS disclosure. And one would have thought, living in the information age, that this would have subsided, but seemingly not. Right, we're going to take a break, and on the other side, we actually